Welcome to the UnDisrupted podcast with Adam and Carl. Adam, today I'm wondering, all these things that are out there, like we've been off for I don't know how many months now or years, it seems like, and everybody's creating, it seems like there's this big influx of content that's being created, much like this podcast, right? Yeah. So is there anything out there that's just like got you, or is there anything out, is it all good content, or what are your thoughts?
Oh, gosh, no, there's so much junk out there. It's ridiculous. And here's my thing. My wife and kids have been trying to get me to TikTok and do those viral dances. I refuse to. I'm not doing it. But I will say this. There is a lot of good content that is on these platforms like TikTok. I mean, especially when you look at the movements that are happening, whether it's social justice or whether it's being informed about what's going on with the COVID. There are some really interesting things on TikTok. Yeah.
I thought you said movement. I was thinking more, again, when you said movement, I was thinking more like that dance that you have to recreate, but I didn't quite get it down there. So we're excited to be joined today by Dr. Matthew X. Joseph. The X stands for Xavier, I believe.
Yes, it does. What's up, fellas?
I thought it was extreme.
Extreme.
There we go. Whatever. You can fill in whatever you want.
It's the X
Your
factor.
show.
It's like Fred Sanford. The Fred G. Sanford. The G always stood for something different every time he said it.
Yeah, right. So Matt's the director of curriculum instruction and assessment up there in Massachusetts. He's also the author of 2 books, Modern Mentor and Power of Us. And you can follow him on Twitter at Matthew X. Joseph. So Matt, we always start out with a very serious question on our show. And so our first question is a very serious one. And that is, tell us, what is the Walking Ed?
What is the Walking Ed? This is pretty deep. Well, as you know, both of you know, had an opportunity to meet an amazing educator from Australia. His name is Brett. I've actually met him at your event a few years ago. And we actually had an opportunity to share a few cocktails and laugh and really build up a friendship. And during this pandemic and all of this content that was created, we also was creating a lot of food and a lot of drinks and a lot of other things.
Yeah, a lot of weight.
A lot of fun recipes. So Brett and I decided we're going to take in a lot of those recipes. Unfortunately, that also put in on a lot of poundage. So we decided to just challenge ourselves, and we did this Conqueror challenge where you could put in a distance and you could walk it, whatever. And it was kind of fun to do. And we would tweet it out and have fun with it, just the two of us. And then other people are like, hey, we got to get out and walk too. And he's a big fan of the Walking Dead show. And he says, we're going to be, since we're rising from the dead, essentially, we're going to be the Walking Ed. Again, this was like 3 weeks ago. And it was like the two of us being goofballs, like just walking around. As of this morning, we had like almost 600 something people. People are asking for stickers. I got stickers here. I'm sending some out today. Like, people are getting involved. Today was Wags Wednesday. They're putting dogs on there. And it's just what it came down to with this theme of all this stuff that was created. It created a space for educators to be like, I'm going to take a walk. I'm going to get out. And there's other people out there that are going through this together. And just, hey, what's up, y'all? And we're just out taking a walk.
I love it.
That's about it. There's really nothing deep about it.
I was waiting for is there are you answering the questions of life, or no?
We are like, here's the choices: another nacho platter or a walk around the block and tag somebody with a fun sighting of something out there. That's about it. But good. It has created some powerful connections, and it has motivated some people to get out. We say get up, get out, and stay connected, and it really stemmed from also, we keep hearing this, physical distance, social distancing. And I was like, we need to physically stay apart, but socially stay connected.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it too, because as someone who is, I've actually been inspired by it and done quite a few miles and tagged you guys a few times on it. Yeah. So it's been good to get out a little bit, besides just walking from my office to the fridge. So that's been good.
Right.
And thank you for that, because you have just said our word or phrase of the year with social distancing. For those of you keeping score at home, ding. Social distancing is the word, is the phrase of the podcast.
You win a free Walking Ed sticker. Oh wait, you've already got them.
Yes, I got a few. I'll send you a couple.
Oh, there we go.
So with this job that we have and all the stuff that's going on right now, when you look at the challenges or things that you're facing, your district is facing, students are facing, what is the one thing that you can say that probably keeps you up at night, that you lose the most sleep over in your position, supporting instruction, supporting your staff in your district?
Well, I know you're doing this for 2 days and you're going to get a lot of equity issues around students not having connectivity or devices or training. So I don't want to just go on and probably say what some of the other folks will probably say. One of the things that's definitely keeping me up at night is that I hope teachers don't feel, or leaders for that matter, because I work with our leaders too, that they have to solve everything in the moment. Like if they don't find a solution this evening, then tomorrow's going to be a bad day. And I saw that a little bit in the beginning when, again, back to the theme of developing all this content, where teachers were staying up nights and weekends, myself, like, what are we going to do? How do we learn the Zoom? What's another tool we can have? So my big thing is that we're not going to solve all of the educational issues during this crisis overnight. Like, have a plan, set your vision, and chip away at it so that we can continue to work forward. So what it would keep me up as a district, at least I'm saying we do, but districts out there who don't have a long-term vision and are leading on hope, meaning I hope this gets better. I hope the kids come back. And hope is not a strategy. And I want them to have actions. So that keeps me up when districts and leaders don't have a vision and then action steps to get there.
So speaking of that vision and those actions, we're recording this in July, but it could be that, by the time this is aired, the school's already open. What plans do you guys have in your school district, or what is there's all these scenarios out there and everyone's got different plans or models for how school's going to open. So at this moment, July 1, Matt, what does it look like? What does your school district look like in terms of what it wants to do?
So a big theme that we kind of adopted early on was go slow to go far. And meaning, again, back to the theme of what you're talking about, in the first couple of weeks, teachers was like a buffet of, we can have this and we can have this and let's have this resource and have this resource. Mm-hmm. And it became overwhelming. And by the time you learned the platform, you were overwhelmed with the amount of resources and tools and ideas and strategies and things. So we actually took a step back and focused on, we called our core 4. And we had 4 real tools that and learning opportunities to focus on. And we had them all around we're a Google environment. So we focused on those. And as we look towards, as you said, September, or whenever schools return, for us it's September, it's that we want to focus this few critical weeks on the learning aspect, not where the learning is taking place. What we can control is we can have a robust digital platform. We're going to focus all around Google Classroom. We're going to focus on our core 4 to make sure we have the training around Flipgrid, Edpuzzle, Newsela, and Padlet, because we feel that those tools can help students build portfolios. We also, within that, the kind of on the outside in is Wakelet and Bunsey, that these are tools we can focus on and design lessons no matter where we are. So we don't know where we're going to be the first day of school, but what we do know is kids are going to need to learn. And our big push in our district is around student voice. So what are those tools? And there's hundreds out there, people who watch or listen to this, or I've said it on multiple platforms, and they're like, well, this one's better than that one. This one, there's many tools, but if we can slow down, go deep on a few, really learn them, and show how they connect pre-K-12, which goes back to my last question, we're going to have a learning vision no matter where we are.
Nice.
Yeah, that's big right there, because you can't support everything. There's, like you said, there's so many things out there. You got to find what you can support and get good at. In my district, I kind of tell folks, we got to get everybody at least to the floor before we can get to the ceiling. Right. So they can at least get everybody.
Unless you're Michael Jordan, because the floor is the ceiling, right?
Oh, boy. Here we go.
All right. So, with getting the core 4 you mentioned and these tools that are out there, in this new normal.
Yep.
That's another one out there.
Another buzzword. Ding, ding, ding. Is that take a drink? I have my seltzer.
Yeah,
yes.
There you go.
Where's my coffee?
What do you think professional learning looks like in this state now, in this new world? And this is, you could take this from the aspect of your teachers to your admin to students, heck, even your parents. What does this professional learning look like in this new world that we're in?
Well, one of the things I've been trying to do is look at some of the silver linings in what we have, because that's all we have, or else we just sit around and eat and do all the other things we were just talking about. And one of the silver linings, and the 3 of us have actually been pretty ingrained in some of the things that are going on in digital learning and in digital instruction, that one of the things I wanted to talk about to get in from your question was that students are going to have more ownership in their learning. They essentially just worked or learned 3 months on their own. Yes, there was teaching. Yes, there was some capacity of that. They essentially were learning this content on their own. The other thing that I really liked about this time was that we didn't have too many deadlines. Again, I don't know the landscape of coast to coast, but I didn't see too many, like, we're going to sign something on Monday, it's due Tuesday. Right. And yes, there was some of that. But the longevity of learning really took center stage, where a lot of teachers I saw put out something like on Friday, all right, in a week, could you have these 4 things done? Students had a lot more pace time to do it. They had a lot more time to dig in and learn some things, and they weren't stressed about, I have to get this done Monday. So some students slept into 10, worked till 6 at night. Some students got up early and worked. And what we saw, or at least I can speak from my perspective and things I saw, students learned at their own pace. But they, over a period of time, let's say a month period of time, they learned the same amount as if they were in a classroom for 45 minutes, sitting there listening to someone talk at them. And if we could look at learning in a longer phase than a 55-minute class or a day-to-day, students will be able to solve this problem. That would be something I would want to continue to bring forward for the learning aspect, that we put away the time aspect, and that, not that we shouldn't have due dates because there's accountability, but look at a longer learning platform of units, projects, portfolios. And I think that's where I would like to see moving forward with the question you asked.
And so, on kind of a piggybacking on that too, so now we know that there's this kind of a quote unquote opportunity, right, for change. What are some of the things are you seeing besides just that idea of like kind of the expanded schedule or the expanded kind of turning in process? Are there some things that your teachers are picking up on, or that you've noticed around that they're like, so this is something that I wasn't doing before that I will continue to put into practice going into the fall?
I think for us, and again, I don't want to speak for us, we used a lot of lingo in education. One of them was flipped classroom. What's a flipped classroom? And we do this in class and that one in class, and we're going to watch a video. And it was cute. It was nice. It showed up in magazines every so often. But teachers got to actually see what that looked like now, where they had to teach, log off of Zoom, and keep their fingers crossed the kids actually did something. Yeah. And I hope that kind of framework moves forward, where the work is done the day before class, not just homework, not just another worksheet or digital worksheet, whatever, that they're given an assignment to say, all right, for the next 2 days, research X topic, whatever it is, the Brooklyn Bridge. And we're going to talk about mathematics. And we're going to talk about history. Wait a sec, those are 2 different subjects. No, we're going to do them both at the same time. Nice. Whoa, slow down. What are you talking about? That's social studies and math. Don't even talk about writing, because now we're in ELA. Don't mix it up. Like, cut it out. Yeah. Like, let's not talk about that. So I want to talk about that, but that's what that's what I'm explaining, that I want students to do some research and then come into class and share their learning, because we do too much, and I can say this, I've seen it, too much memorization learning. Yeah. And there's no independent transfer of learning. That's when actual learning takes place, when students can own it, transfer it by themselves. And I think moving forward, that would be something I'd want to see, that our teachers can take and learn from this time. But these kids were learning on their own for the most part, and transferring it in a way we had never had before. And they were okay with it. They made it through.
I think that could be a scary thing for teachers out there too, to be like, wait, they just learned kind of, is it in spite of or because of, or I will tell you that, out of my 3 kids, one of them, the older one, is like, she's happy that she wants to go virtual next year. She's like, she flew. And then some kids are actually excelling. Those that have access, of course, are actually excelling in this environment. So that's not a knock against the teacher, I don't think.
No, and look at the passion projects. And I know the 2 of you are do a lot of them. I do them myself. The ones that get done and we put the most effort in, the ones we have passion around, and we add our own. All 3 of us have our own kind of lens and flair for some things we do. When that's included, boy, are we proud of that product, and we show it off. I mean, you and I were just down in Texas showing off our kind of products in a sense. And if students can come into school with products that they're proud of, if it doesn't look exactly like the teacher said it should, don't say it's wrong, because if they can learn and transfer that knowledge, then then that's the home run right there. That's what we're in this. That's what there's for.
That's what we
Now, I
want.
think a lot of that opportunity came from certain states kind of lifting some of those testing restrictions and regulations that they had, gave some of the teachers a little more flexibility for that opportunity to kind of dig a little deeper and not feeling that they had to check up all those boxes to have the kids ready for some kind of milestone assessment.
Absolutely.
I dropped milestone. That's what we do in Georgia.
No, that was huge. That was the accountability of, teachers were like, whoa, there's gonna be a number with my name on it that says if I'm a good teacher or not. Yeah. And we all know that's not the case, but that's a hard narrative to get away from.
So someone with assessment in your title, what is your thought? I mean, that's the big thing, right? In Texas, they're saying, okay, we're going to have assessment no matter what. Whereas in Georgia, I know, Adam, they're saying like, oh, we're going to get rid of it for another year. What's your thoughts?
Well, also in Massachusetts, we seem to be number one all the time. So I'm worried we're not going to be moving away from that because we like that. Yeah. We like that it's a good moniker metric up on the thing, the metric. Mm-hmm. However, I think what we're seeing through this is the need to do that, to look at the accountability measures a little bit differently. I don't want to speak about the state assessment. I don't want to talk about the commissioner because he does a lot of work. But I know in our district, we're actually meeting after today to talk about some different assessment measures to look at what are we assessing, and is it a number that's kind of cool to show up on the school committee screen when we have our meetings, like look at the numbers, or is it actually showing us if students are learning or not and planning around it? So I won't go big A assessment for statewide, but for our more small scale assessment, we're going to be looking at more project-based, more student portfolio, more content specific than STAR testing versus, insert any Pearson assessment things you all buy and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, he said the word.
Oh, well, they changed their name now. There's something else. So, yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. It's Pearson now, right? Not Pearson. No.
Yeah. Our students have an interesting name for the assessments, and it takes part of that word, but that's for a different podcast.
Yes, that's overtime on UnDisrupted. Yeah.
So we mentioned a whole lot of things and that are going on, and one thing that we've been trying to do on this podcast is kind of have our guests give the listeners something positive to go out on. So, each and every day we go into these jobs, we know what we're getting into, or we think we know until it changes. Yeah. But in your seat, Dr. X.
Yeah.
What is some words of encouragement that you can give the listeners out there that they can kind of take with them to slay the dragon each day?
That we actually have the power to pivot and make what we're going to teach our own. And we have the capacity. The flip side of the amount of resources or things that we've talked about early in the negative lens almost, is there are some things that fit for you. Find something that works for you. I enjoy Twitter chats. I take a lot of content from them. I gather a lot of resources. They work for me. For someone else, it's a little overwhelming. Find something that works for you that you connect with, and then focus on that. Similar to our theme of, go slow to go far. Find one or two things that work for you. Maybe it's this amazing podcast. Listen to every single episode, and that resonates with you. Don't listen to 40 podcasts. Find ones that resonate and fit with you, and take that and move it forward, because this has allowed us as educators to be who we are. It's essentially a stripped down version of teaching. You got your tie on with your shorts. You're having, coffee at work. You're looking at people, so you can be a little bit more of yourself and be comfortable in your skin, and move forward and find something that fits for you. I mean, we can do it. We've all pivoted on a dime. I've heard in professional development that I've done a lot of, same with you two. We can't do that here. We've never done that. Then we are not in school. You have to do it. And people pivoted, and they made it work for them. They had their fun. Once it got stale, then fun backgrounds came in. Once that got kind of ridiculous, something else came in. Right. So just have the confidence to pivot when it's time.
And I think that it focuses on that growth mindset. And I know that all three of us have delivered professional development around technology specifically. Yeah. And there's a lot of times when you walk into a room physically or even virtually, where there's teachers, there's always that teacher, and the teacher I'm talking about. There's the one that's like, oh, I just don't get technology, or I just don't do technology. And it's funny because you say, I told that same teacher, like, what happens if a math student walked into your room, you're a math teacher, and they said, I just don't do math. Are you going to tell that kid, all right, great, you get a pass today, right?
Right. I don't do books. I'm out.
Yeah, that's it.
I actually had a kid tell me that one time.
Randomly.
They do technology when they check their online bank statement for every 2 weeks.
I know. It's on. Yes. They do a lot more tech than they think. But
Right.
Dr. Matthew X. Joseph, thank you for joining us today. Matt, where can people find you and all your good work?
As you said, I think Twitter would be the first entry point, at Matthew X. Joseph. My website is there. You can go to, it's Matthew X. Joseph Speaker. Those two, again, I don't want to flood you with resources. Those two are going to have all the information about my work within the district and things that we're doing, professional development, and work outside the district, information about the books, blogs, different articles and presentations I've done. So those two would be the starts, at Matthew X. Joseph or online, mxjspeaker.com.
This has been the UnDisrupted podcast. He's Adam.
He's Carl. Remember, we are better together.
And we are better undisrupted.
Undisrupted.
This podcast is made possible by the generous support of Amazon Web Services.